Hello and welcome to the program. This evening, I will be speaking with Richard Raven, a once billionaire and the creator of Community Net, which has all but eliminated homelessness in his hometown of San Diego. Mr. Raven, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here.
Take us all the way back to your beginning. I read you had a modest upbringing.
Sure. We were not poor. My family was living month to month, which is stressful, and homelessness was right outside the door. I never met a stranger, so I would be out there talking to people on the streets all hours, for years, hearing their stories. You had people that moved from town to town, folks living in cars. I saw how these folks would hide, basically, from the weather, the police, the public. It was those stories that got my wheels turning initially. People do so much with so little. So I started thinking, how expensive could fixing this really be?
Okay, so from modest finances to global empire in only 10 years, your apps have become standard on every device, taking on giants such as Google and Microsoft, truly a meteoric rise, so already incredible, but then, instead of diversifying in tech, you pivot into solving homelessness. Do you regret that decision now?
Not at all. BusinessWeb and AIemployees.com are still bringing in revenue, but they are just software. CommunityNet is changing society forever. It's saving lives right now, and it's raising the standard of living for everyone. For me as an investor and business operator, it all floats up. My customers, my partners, my employees, my community is healthier, safer. And what we have done is alleviate so much financial and time burden from the city that now they can focus solidifying our foundation. Basically, what I'm trying to say is when it's all said and done, I benefit significantly from CommunityNet. Even though I don't use the services directly, I still feel the impact.
Absolutely, I think we all do. So how much did CommunityNet cost to set up initially?
Well, we had a lot of momentum built before opening our first facility. I was the largest individual contributor, but we spent the first 2 years just building partnerships. So my $1 billion was multiplied over 100 times over 10 years through trusts and annuities with people and institutions around the world. People liked the idea and wanted to see it succeed, and of course, our biggest strategic partner, 7-Eleven.
So $100 billion over 10 years?
Give or take, and we are tracked to be cost neutral by 2030.
For people that don't know, which is rare, what is CommunityNet?
It's a lot of things, actually. We break it into 5 categories: basic necessities, shelter, health, transportation, and jobs. Basic necessities is where this whole thing started. Bathrooms and showers. That was the first major hurdle.
Oh, that does seem like it would be an ongoing anxiety of homeless people. How did you all approach it?
We just started throwing ideas at the wall initially. We converted trucking containers into mobile spas for the homeless, basically. Each one has showers and toilets, and free toiletries like shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste. Just having that tube of toothpaste gets people thinking differently. Getting out of a rut, changing your habits after years and years is almost impossible. It's not, but almost. So anyone on the street for more than a few months, they are in the rut. Their schedule, their day-to-day, it's almost impossible to get out of, which is a human characteristic. So it's like weights on a scale. You gotta add enough weight to the other side to tip that balance. Get their minds set on getting off the street.
Yes, that's something we can all understand. How many spa shipping containers were you running?
We started with 2, and now we are up to 15. But the mobile spas are to a large extent branding vehicles for us. It wasn't real until 3 years ago that we brought 7-Eleven on board and built permanent spas for the homeless in 300 locations.
Of course, 7-Eleven has transformed the way we all shop and work. I get 7-Eleven delivery every week.
Right, me too.
Tell us about that. Tell us how you got 7-Eleven to transform their business model so drastically.
Luck, timing. The North American leadership at the time they got it. My pitch resonated with them. 7-Eleven workers already had frontline exposure to the homeless. Trust me, anyone who's worked at a convenience store knows every homeless person for a 20-block radius. We just convinced 7-Eleven to let us take it to the next logical step.
Well, I remember 7-Elevens being these one-room buildings with racks of gummy worms and soda. Now you can live at 7-Eleven. You order prepped meals from there. You can find a job or work in their on-site vertical gardens or kitchens. I actually got a foot massage at a 7-Eleven last weekend.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? We created the programs to be organic and self-sustaining. I knew these systems needed to be cost-neutral somehow. which means a lot of non-profit-style cost reductions. First of all, our members need to feel responsibility for the upkeep of our facilities, and at the same time, these are people that need jobs, so recruitment job placement is a plank of the program, but we needed to actually be making a profit somehow to be long-term sustainable. So we started 7-Eleven meal delivery service. Now we are making money and have company assets like food, prep equipment, and transportation, all things our clients also need.
Even as transformative as the 7-Eleven community program has been, it's not the biggest piece of the puzzle, which is definitely the transitional housing aspect of CommunityNet. What is the secret? Where did you find housing for tens of thousands of people?
Yeah, well, it's a filtering process is how I look at it. First, we address the easy ones, that 10% who want stability and are physically able to sustain it. In those cases, we have high success rate just getting them started in their own apartment and job recruitment. In the case of higher risk clients, most end up in the community hotels. Traditional homeless shelters offer beds at night, but usually put you back out during the day. Community hotels is a hybrid of that approach. We clear the beds in the mornings, but we have decent-sized permanent lockers and TV rooms and recreation stuff where they can be safe during the day too. Each hotel has a hotel director, and these are amazing people, typically with social work experience. Those are the heroes that keep that aspect of the program successful.
I see the CommunityNet logo on signs outside of town too. What is Camp Community?
Camp Community is where we offer tents and parking for cars and RVs, basically. There is definitely a kumbaya vibe at the camps, but I think it's good.
What is the ethos of CommunityNet?
We are pretty AB all business with our clients, but the one bit of motto I guess we have is to help the next person. If you have experienced homelessness, you are in a small club and understand the situation from the inside out. So anybody we interact with, we ask them to help the next person out.
You also provide permanent housing, do you not?
Well, not exactly. We will set people up for 1 year. And we place a lot of folks with roommates. The only catch is you have to check in with one of our financial planners that is basically there to follow up on our investment. We invest directly in people and reap the social benefits.
Something about it is working. It has cut homeless by 70% in the state. Prison convictions have been cut in half, and violent crime dropped a staggering 15% just last year. Do you feel those statistics are related?
Absolutely. CommunityNet is the public face of this initiative, but we work with hundreds of amazing nonprofits, addiction programs, halfway houses, social workers, public and private and state offices. It's certainly not just us. I will say, though, our Help the Next Person policy, it's become a pipeline of average people doing social work. It's impossible to quantify the effect of that.
From your point of view, what do you think about mental health and addiction in this country?
Yeah, addiction is a huge problem, especially for the addict. I experienced addiction life but never got into it myself. The first thing to consider is the people managing pain from serious physical injury. The best thing we can do for that situation is setting regular doctor visits and getting the client there.
What about recreational habitual drug use?
Recreational addicts, on the other hand, and this depends on their economic and mental situation, but some of our community hotels specialize in addiction counseling. Our camps offer various what they call paths to sobriety. So we are good friends with AA, but we are a little more secular, and our goal is a little different. I think pressuring people to be totally sober, it kind of gives you a license to binge hard when you do stumble. Our goal is to get you to drink responsibly, 1 beer an hour. It's unusual, but a beer party is literally one of our treatments. Everyone just drinks super slow. But while having fun, getting that new information into the addict's muscle memory. Habitual is the key word there. How do you change any habit? You switch to a new habit. The main cause, in my opinion, of habitual drug use isn't because they are fun or even good, it's slow suicide. So yeah, anyway, that's something I leave to the professionals. I get too emotional just thinking about it.
Your organization has released what some call comical, but others say hostile advertising towards gun owners and the gun industry. How are guns related to homelessness?
People think they need to carry a gun to be safe. That's ridiculous. Those ads were aimed at hyped-up gun culture, that's it. They had more backlash than we had expected, but they were part of a strategy. It was an ad campaign to back up what we are telling at-risk youth and ex-cons. A significant amount of our clients just got out of jail, and our counselors are out there, basically saying the same thing. It's a de-escalation tactic. People get stuff so built up, and we are trying to release that pressure non-violently any way possible.
Your company has an interesting and some say controversial financial transparency. Tell us about that.
Simple. All my companies have it. We don't have company secrets. Our vendors and customers, our employees and competitors, all see how much we pay and charge, how much everyone makes. It's an example I am just trying to set for the business world with all my companies. Anytime you have to hide something, trying to get one over on somebody to make a buck, I get the temptation, but it's corrosive. We just hope other companies will see what we are doing and see the value.
Well, in that case, you won't mind me asking, how much are you currently worth and earning?
All my assets combined are worth about 30 million, which is all real estate, and I keep 10 million in reserve. I only pay myself a salary of 300,000 a year from my for-profit companies. And my position lets me put about $10 million a year into funding projects around the country.
Truly amazing.
Is it though? I have a $10 million cushion with 30 million in real estate and access to hundreds of millions of dollars. It's ludicrous in a way.
How so?
It's just a lot of money. And I only own 3 companies. I'm one small fish in the grand scheme, and look how much just one person was able to do.
One billionaire.
Well, not anymore.
Very true. Let me ask you this. Do you consider it tragic that society needs to be saved by a billionaire? That our governments can't manage to get the job done?
Maybe. But it's the reality. We are the stewards of the economy, as individuals and especially as a group. And I mean, the government is the biggest single kid on the playground. We have been able to help 30,000 people. Meanwhile, the government can educate 50 million students every year practically as an afterthought.
Can homelessness be solved?
Great question. I don't think it's ever going away, no. There are just so many people and circumstances. We can, however, make the streets safer. And we can give people more options.
Well, you are doing an excellent job so far, and we at the show thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for having me on tonight.
Of course, please come back anytime. And thank you to the audience for joining us. Join us next week when I interview third-party candidate Mario Espinosa, whose bipartisanship party claims it is going to 99% of the vote. My name is Jessica Michelle Moreno, and this has been Thought Talk. Good night.